pop. And the
Yeah.
reason why we hide is because you came to Atlanta last week, and the only reason why I was even supporting the award shows because one, my brother was being honored, and
Mhm.
and you came to the award show, and you might have some apprehensions. I don't know, but the fact of the matter is, you showed up as you do before, and this is not your first time being nominated. I think didn't you won before
We've won before, and we've been nominated nearly every year.
every year. So
Nearly.
so the last 2 years is very interesting, especially with all the journalists and people that contribute to this culture has put in work, real work and hard work,
Yeah.
creating content. And Christal know very well that it's not easy what we do,
Mhm.
as well as you, Chuck. When we talk about content creation, we literally go out and create the content, get the work, conduct the interviews, create the events, bring the people together.
Mhm.
What is your thoughts about the outcome of this award in your category? And for those who don't
Um,
know, Chuck was nominated for the hip hop platform of
Mhm.
the year.
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, I'm perplexed. I guess I'm confused a little bit as far as the criteria. What's the criteria? What's the standard by which they judge the winner, and those that are even nominated for that matter. So, I mean, first of all, I just want to say I'm definitely thankful and grateful to be even recognized. Those most of the people on that list, and others as well that are not on that list, put in a lot of work and energy into the craft. And so, uh, I think the questions come in to seeing, uh, again, what's the standard? Is it popularity? Which, if that's the case, then let it be. You know what I mean? Is it excellence? Is it journalistic integrity?
Mhm.
I don't know the answer to that. I just know what we do is what we do, and that's journalism, and that's you know actually, quite frankly, journalism on all fronts. So you see me doing interviews, in-depth interviews. You might see us breaking a story around a crime or a murder. You might see us breaking new talent, up and coming artists in hip hop. You might see us doing actual events. You might see me speaking on MSNBC or some other platform, speaking about cultural events, things that are about the Black experience or the things that are important to hip hop. So there are people that do that, not just us, but I'm just saying, like, that's what we do. We really cover the. It's like Magic Johnson. We play every position.
Every position. And we're talking about platforms. We're talking about while we don't know what the criteria. I didn't even know what the criteria were to be a part of that the nomination, uh,
Category.
the
I
category.
I want to say to you, Chuck, and I've known you for years and been all hip hop com has been a staple for actually delivering real journalistic integrity when it comes to hip hop.
Mhm.
So when I saw that there was a category for hip hop platform, I looked at the rest of the some of the other nominations. I just felt
Well,
like, first
hold,
of all,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Who was that lovely young lady I saw with you on the red carpet, Chuck?
That was my daughter. Yeah, that's definitely my daughter. My road dog. Yeah, that's my daughter.
I'm sorry, Crystal.
Super tight.
no
Guys,
problem.
don't do that again. But do it again.
No problem. But I'm just saying that what you do when you think of hip hop platform, we all know that BT was celebrating, as we all have been all year, the 50th year of hip hop. So
Mhm.
to me, it was really about the authenticity of hip hop. So I just knew. Dennis and I had a conversation. I was like, all hip hop it makes sense that they would be celebrated because they are a part of the narration of 50 years of hip hop. When
Mhm.
I think of um programs like Careesha Please or podcasts like Careesha Please or what Jason Lee does, it's not necessarily specifically targeted to hip hop, and it's not necessarily journalism. It's fun. People enjoy the conversations because it's provocative, but it's not the definition of journalism. And so when Charlemagne the God made a statement, I sent that over to Genesis. I was like, he's absolutely right. It's two very different things.
Yeah.
It's two very different things. If you want to enjoy provocative conversation with the hottest it girl, cool. Careesha got that down. But when we're talking about celebrating hip hop and a hip hop platform, to me, all I can say it, I feel like allhiphopcom.com was done a great disservice. First of all, even being placed among those sites, and then for them not to be recognized as a representation of the hip hop platform of the year, to me was just a great disservice. So I'm fine saying that for you, Chuck.
Well, thank you.
And it raises the question for some, what is a hip hop platform? If what we do, Chuck, if what we do is not considered a hip hop platform, then what is a hip hop platform? What are the criteria? What are the standards that set? Who's voting on these committees?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. You know, for me, I know that a platform that's like, you know, like me saying I have a television network. You know, it's like I don't have a television network, but if I was nominated for best television network and won, I'd be like, okay, you know, or people would be like, okay, how did that happen? How did he get best, you know, television network? Well, they would start to look and say, well, he know this, he know that person, he doesn't know this person. You know, like, how did he make that happen? It wouldn't be based on the you know, outward criteria. So, you know, yeah, I don't know. You know, we have an institution, we are a legacy, and I know that's a fact. And again, that's not saying others are not. That's just saying what I know we do. You know, we've been cited. We have, you know, like yourself, we have been cited. We have been stolen, reposted. I mean,
we give them the content so they can exist. Let's be honest. We create content so a lot of them can
yeah,
exist.
a lot of them, and that's
all
not
of them.
really, and that's not necessarily the nominees. You know, the nominees, most of them, I do say create their own content. They do, and their content gets ripped off and reposted as well.
True.
You know,
True.
it's just a little bit different. You know, shout out to Nori. He found a lane,
Right.
In which, you know, it's the premise is you get around and drink, and eventually all the things come out.
Yeah.
So, and that's genius.
It's one way of doing it.
That's genius, right? For me, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get to know this person. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna get him to melt the ice, and we gonna have this, you know. And eventually, he's gonna open up, he or she, and we're gonna have that. You know, they're gonna cry at one point or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But
Respectfully, that's cheating.
Nori found a way to get to the you know, the stuff a little easier.
Right.
It's just, and I love it. I love Drink Champs. I think it was
Absolutely.
ingenious. It's but definitely a part of the culture, but I think it's not journalism. I feel like we fight that all the time because it's like it's two separate things. And I think you can enjoy bloggers, you can enjoy influencers, you can enjoy that, but you have to understand that it's very different from people that actually go study, research, and like you said, if I was able to get, you know, guests drunk, I would definitely probably get I would have probably had a great interview with Jada Pinkett Smith, even better than I did. But we don't get a chance to do, like, it's really about setting a mood to where the person that you're interviewing feels comfortable, and they also respect the fact that you've done research and you understand, and you're coming to them as someone who has put the time in to really research and give them an opportunity to share their full perspective, you know, from a different, you know, from a holistic way, as opposed to, let me talk about, you know, what you like to do in the bed with your man. That could be a part of it as well. Right. But it's just, a lot of times I feel like what's going on now is what gets eyes and what gets views is not always true. It's not always it's often taken out of context, and I think we have the job to actually go put things in full context. You can't get away with just doing clickbait. You're actually doing the real work, and I think that should have been. I feel like the categories should not have been combined.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's now a need to say best website, best journalistic platform, and best blogger or best podcaster. Like, let's break the two apart, because they're not the same at all. They're not the same at all. Definitely what all hip hop stands on is completely different than what Wallow and Gilly do. And what Wallow and Gilly do is there's nothing.
Yeah.
I love Wallow and Gilly, Drink Champs. I don't tap in with everybody because I'm very busy and focused on what I do, but it's not the same. And I think that the fans, even calling all hip hop a blog, which they typically do, it's not a blog. It's just not.
Right.
No.
Right. And that's a problem as well. Do they call the New York Times a blog?
No.
Do they call Washington Post a blog?
Absolutely not.
Right. No, they're blogs, and they are actually sites that are actually doing news articles, doing research, photos, videos, interviews, substance, things with substance. And I think we are the I guess the leaders of the pack, so to speak, and we should be able to create some kind of guidelines for them to follow. Because were you even consulted, like, for some of these award shows, to in any?
No.
So that's some people will.
I am a voting member, though. By the way, I do vote.
Right. But people have actually suggested that the powers that be might have influenced the award shows, and this happens not just with BET Hip Hop Awards. There are other award shows we've seen, but I don't care about those award shows because, like, my life, like your life, has been dedicated to this culture, and if we don't leave some type of legacy for the youngs to follow, then I mean, where are we going to go with these paying the tribute to the individuals who are really doing it? I don't know. What do you think, Christal? What do you think, Chuck?
Well, I was going to say, I think that we're asking questions like, why? Well, the Grammys. Why is the Grammys the standard? Why is the Grammys, like, for Black folks, the standard? Why is the Billboard Awards the standard? And I don't necessarily know the answer to that. Well, I kind of do. The Grammys is very based on excellence in music. It appears to be very integrity based, art based. You might see, like Drake just said, Esperanza Spalding beat him for Best New Artist 10 years ago, and he's still hurting over that. Well, why did she win? Well, she won because she's a great artist, not because she's the most popular.
Right.
The Billboard Awards, on the other hand, is very based on popularity.
Right.
And we know that going in. So
shout out to my friend Gail,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So when the most popular one wins, it's no like, oh wow, wow. So my thing is what's the criteria? What are we doing here? And if it is popularity, so be it. I'm not mad.
I agree with that, but my issue with that particular nomination the categories there is that, again, it was hip hop, right? So I do understand if we're talking about just hip hop and a conversation around hip hop, then I understand Drink Champs, and I understand, because even though their conversation is not based on journalism, it is about the content is always about hip hop, right? As Wally and Gilly. I don't necessarily feel like Careesha Please is around hip hop.
Fair enough.
It's more about gossip and, sexuality. It's different. I feel like that was why I had an extra issue. I still feel like what all hip hop does is so different. I feel like it embodies the term hip hop platform. But if we're talking about a conversation about hip hop, then we can understand why we have Drink Champs, because there still is, that is a continued hip hop conversation. I don't feel like Careesha Please is the same. I also don't feel like, and again, I have so much respect for Jason Lee, but his conversation is pop culture. It's not hip hop.
Yeah.
So I just feel like Careesha Please could even be a form of pop culture, especially because of her relationship with Diddy. So that could be pop culture, but I don't believe that it's it's a representation of a hip hop conversation.
Well, you just said it. Diddy is we don't have any confirmations or anything like that, but he's a powerful force, and it's not unimaginable to think that he may have whispered in somebody's ear, and that's the game.
And he also planted the seed that she will be a billionaire in how many years?
Yeah, man.
We'll overthink about that.
Shout out to Black billionaires. I think that we have to just there's bigger pictures here. You know what I mean? And when you start talking about the bigger picture is we're doing it to ourselves. That's the bigger picture. Why are we doing this? We get mad at white folks for squishing small businesses and erasing legacies and things of that nature. But it seems to me like we're doing it to ourselves. Hip Hop 50, we're celebrating roughly, let's say 20 artists, 50 years of hip hop, and we're celebrating, let's say 25 artists, just to round it out to 25. We're not really celebrating the names. We saw Public Enemy perform for 10 seconds at the Grammys. Yeah. Public Enemy was one of the biggest groups ever. And Chuck D and Flavor Flav are two of the most prolific individuals to ever, even music, not just hip hop, but music, period. And so, there are people and forces that don't necessarily want the kids to tap into that energy and other energy too, like whatever. I'm not sitting here going just run down the line, but there's a lot of positive energy that is not being shared. All hip hop is two Black men. I don't necessarily say college is the way, but college graduates, dudes that hit the streets, hit the pavement, treated the culture with respect, even the other individuals in those categories. Because remember, most of those cats, Joe Budden, Nori, not Wallow, but Gilly, can't think of all the other ones. And even Careesha has been on our platform as well. They have all graced our platform, and it's all been love. It still is love. And that's how we move, so I don't get upset. I'm appreciative for every blessing that is for me, and whatever blessing is not for me, it's not for me. This might be what Careesha needs. It's not what I need. I need money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I need business opportunities. And those are the things that I need. I love awards like everyone else, and I want awards and I want recognition like everyone else. By the same token, the cross we bear is different than other folks. Yeah. And that's real. And if you look on the square we've stood on, which is Black owned for 25 years, we could have sold a long time ago. We could have easily cashed out and moved on. But a brother had a conversation with us, and we listened. And that brother said, the community needs y'all. And we felt a sense of deep obligation to our people and our community, and probably to some extent our own legacy, right? So if we had sold at that time, what would our legacy be now?
Right.
What would it be? So that said, it could be more, you never know, but I appreciate what we've done. And I couldn't have always said that. This is not an easy road. This is not the clickbait path, which is to me the easy road. I could easily ask somebody, have you ever had this done to you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, we all can push the envelope, but what is the value in pushing certain envelopes, and what is that going to say to those that are coming, after us. I don't like to do things just for shock value, because what does that do for you at the end of the day?
Well, it does put a lot of money in your pocket. I will say that.
It does. It does something for you. It depends. It's everybody has their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
So what Careesha does, that's just what she does.
Yeah.
I'm not going to agree with everything anybody does. I'm not agreeing with everything Joe Budden does. I'm not agreeing with everything Nori does, Wallow and Gilly, but I respect and love all of them. And I don't even agree with my business partner does all the time. Like, we've had arguments. I mean, we have had some knockdown.
Shout out to Grouchy Greg.
Shout out to Grouchy Greg. But when you talk about, when it's all like, when you look at the lifespan of your work and the quality of it, what did you leave? What did you do? And that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. And so I'm very proud of the work we've done. We didn't take the win in our 25th year, but we did take the win. We reached 25 years, 2 Black men owning a platform singularly. No hip hop platform, magazine, website, or otherwise has done that, period.
That's right.
There have been existing entities, but they have not had the same ownership or impact that we have had. And that's what I can stand on.
That's right. How was it even bringing your daughter to the award show? Because I see you guys moving around a lot.
Yeah.
What lesson do you want to leave for her? Because she sits down beside you in a lot of these special events.
Yeah, and that's why I don't get angry, man, because these are priceless moments for me and her. These are moments she'll never forget, moments I'll never forget, moments that we shared. And, she got to do the carpet with me. And what it means to her is this is not this is not real. Like, this is real, but it's not real. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's been around celebrities her whole life. She's got pictures with LL when she was this tall. And then she's seeing him perform. She's been a fan of LL, for example, her whole life, even when she just knew he was an actor, not a rapper. Mm-hmm. So like, it's beautiful, man. And I love my daughter very much. In fact, her birthday is tomorrow. So
happy birthday to her.
Yeah, definitely, man. Shout out to my daughter, man. She took video of me, and she's
I saw that on red carpet. I saw that.
She's doing a lot of things, and I'm just trying to keep her on the right track and keep her away from this grimy hip hop world. And at least if she is going to operate in it, she knows how to maneuver and how to exist as someone who respects herself, respects even the cutthroat nature of this business, because it is cutthroat, and folks that don't believe that or are in for a shock. So I believe in what I do. And what
you touched on a very important topic. And I struggled with this for many years, bringing my daughters in the fold. I have one of my daughters that used to come out to some of the events, but I kind of kept my children away from the industry. I have one school teacher, another one military, and so on. But I try to, because I know so much about this industry, and that's probably one of the reasons why I kept them away from it. Award show is great, but to sit in a recording studio with some of these artists,
we ain't doing that.
We're not going to Magic City together. We're not doing none of that.
I do know people that do that though.
That ain't me. I'm from the other school.
We're not doing that.
Chuck, I know you have a commitment today. I appreciate you coming on, and you listen. While you didn't win the BET Awards, you won many people's respect, love, and admiration for what you do. And today, I'm giving you your flowers.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And that means a lot. All of it means a lot. The comments mean a lot, and I'm happy. That's all I can say is I'm happy, I'm straight, I'm good. Shout out to BET. It's not easy doing an award show in this day and age. There's politics involved. You got to think about ratings. You got to think about every single category of hip hop to satisfy the young, the old, the authentic, the pop, everything. So it's not easy to pull that off, even if, people want us to do an award. And I'm like, I would love to do an award show, but you know, y'all gonna be mad at us then? Because
Oh yeah, I did one the Jaeger Awards, and I miss people. It just it happens. You miss people.
You can never. You're never going to make everybody happy, and you're that's just not possible. But I think that there are legitimate reasons that people maybe there can be some changes made, and categories just need to be separated. Because I'm definitely not taking anything away from what Careesha's doing. Well, Young Miami, what she's doing is dope. It's just different. It's just very different.
You need to really lead the charge then. Lead that charge, because I feel you and I hear you. So I wouldn't be mad at any of what you're saying.
Well, listen.
Let's do a not a GoFundMe, but a color change.
We're gonna talk about it. I have some plans, sir, but we don't want to give it to everyone just yet.
All right. Sounds
Chuck, thank you very much. We're gonna talk on another topic. You might not want to talk. I know you got to go, but it's a very hot topic, and I don't know if you're ready for that one.
Smith, Jada, nah, son. They tearing me up on my Facebook page. All I said was,
I saw that.
I asked was a question, and she ruining him. I just feel some way about what's going on. They eating me up. I'm like, well, shoot, I can't ask a question. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, nowadays you cannot ask a question.
I'm asking a question. They eating me up. I'm like, dang. Okay, we can't even talk. We can't have a conversation. That's why I don't do social media like that, because people really don't want to have a conversation. They just want to talk.
Or they want to beat you in the ground. They want to hear your opinion, but when they hear your opinion, I don't like it. I don't want to listen to you anymore. But Chuck, I appreciate you once again.
Thank you.
Let's do this again soon.
Okay, sounds good.
One of these breaking news stories.
Yep.
Maybe you do one of your breaking news. I do one of mine. How about that?
Let's do it.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Creekmore, allhiphopcom.com. CJ,
man,
before we get into the topic where I'm sure a lot of people are here for.
Oh yeah.
While we talking about Diddy, we ain't gonna just buy it. We ain't getting off the Diddy topic yet. And as the thumbnail shows, there's a picture of Tupac Shakur, rest in peace, someone I interviewed in New York at Sylvia Restaurant many years ago, obviously for his passing, and Puffy. His name's been floating around in this universe, in these YouTube streets and everything. And I'm gonna tell you what I believe, as it relates to this his alleged involvement based on what the social media people are talking about in the streets. I will say today, I don't see nothing happening with Puff Daddy as it relates to these rumors and so forth. And I will tell you why I don't believe it. First and foremost, that Keefe D interview that he did with the members of the Vegas police was done years ago.
Yeah.
There was opportunity to investigate, present to a district attorney, to get wiretaps. I'm sure probably some of that has happened as well. Diddy's not getting prosecuted for this. They're not the prosecutors are not looking to charge Diddy with anything. Even the story that Keefe D was telling to the detectives sounded kind of sketchy. Because if you listen to the audio, at one point, he said they asked for $1 million. Then when the detective asked him the question again on follow-up, he said Diddy offer him the money. So which one was it? Did he ask? Did they offer? It didn't make any sense. So I'm saying, wait a minute. And then the person who's allegedly supposed to have got paid is not here anymore. He's passed on, and it wasn't through mysterious means. And lastly, and the most important thing, that anyone that knows the streets and how the streets really move, if Keefe D was a threat to a killer, Keefe D probably wouldn't be around today if it was Puffy. If you run around saying it's Puffy and everything, I'm not saying Puffy's a killer, but if he was a killer, he's not going to leave that piece of stone unturned. Let's be honest here.
Right.
Let's stop trying to put these labels on people, because one thing's for certain, two things for sure. If he's not involved in this, just think about the damage that may have been done to his kids.
Yeah.
And listening to this, because when Tupac was alive, I don't think any of his kids was alive. maybe one. But the fact of the matter is, you putting labels on people without facts.
Yes.
And you should not move until the detectives move. If they're not moving, then where's the story at?
Where's the story? It's all very, it's again, it's hype, and it creates trending topics, but there's very little there's little meat there. I really just wish at this point we would allow everybody. Puffy 50, who keeps using it as fodder to jab at Diddy, like let him rest, let his legacy rest. There's not going to be, and I mean, there's not going to be justice, because so many, first of all, this is what, 20 years, if not more, later after he's passed. Like you said, some of the people involved are gone. And it's just, Diddy is definitely not. It's just, and actually, what's crazy about this, the way that media works today, the way that social media fluctuates, this actually just makes him more popular, right? It makes him more relevant. He's not going to, I don't even think that he realistically could be charged with anything realistically with substance, but it does work to keep him in the news and keep people talking about him, which works. And it keeps the people going. But I do think that I feel like it's disrespectful to Pac's legacy, and it saddens me that it's like, it's conversation, but we realize that this man lost his life. We lost something. I was talking to one of my good friends this morning. We lost something in losing Pac at 24. Imagine if he had, how influential and powerful he was at 24 years old. Can you imagine if we had him for more years than we did? So I just think that we lose sight of the fact that this is someone's life. Tupac is gone. His mother is gone. We don't have context for a lot of this. But that also brings me to what I am dying to talk about, is this conversation. I released a snippet of
Before we shift, I have a criminal defense attorney that may join us.
Okay.
Who's from New York and who's not only prosecuted murder cases, but she's also gotten people off murder. So we're going to get back to her. Just sent her the link, but let's go ahead and go into this very interesting story involving Jada Pinkett, and some would say not even a Smith anymore, but let's go.
So like I said, I interviewed Jada Pinkett last week, and about her new book, and I actually have a copy of it. I have a copy here, and I read the book. There's a lot in the book, but it's interesting that she took this opportunity to really address. She's been a trending topic since the entanglement with August Alsina. She took this opportunity to really address everything, right? And I will tell you, the book starts. I feel like Jada Pinkett she's very.
Do you have the clip? You want to send it to me?
Well, I text you a clip. I text you another clip from the interview. I released a snippet today where she says that she believes that her and Tupac were soulmates. And she says that she believes they traveled together, and if there are other lives and we've been here before, she feels like the two of them have traveled together. But she did say that they did not have romantic chemistry, although they did try several times to see if it would work.
Well, I want to talk about before we play this clip. You released the first clip, and there was a lot going on in that clip, and I some of the things. And do you have that clip available too? Because I want to kind of play that clip as well.
Let me send that to you.
That was a very interesting clip.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, I just sent that one to you.
But let's talk about that interview.
Mm-hmm. So she was, extremely There were certain parameters put on the interview because we realized that she did share the big surprise was that she and Will have been separated since 2016. She shared that in an interview with Hoda, and that went viral, yesterday. But what I shared from our interview is that she felt like she was soulmates with Tupac.
Yours,
But I
parent, is really key in understanding why everyone has issues and we all are struggling because of something done by someone else. So the quote says, "People are not meant to be perfect. We can mourn that fact, but at some point it's to our benefit to accept it. It's a mighty invitation for healing."
Oh, hold on,
One
Christal.
of my favorites. You picked right? Because for so long I sat, pointing the finger and blaming, but it wasn't moving me through my pain. It was actually compacting it. And what I realized is that in me having acceptance for my humanness, my frailties, gave me the room and the understanding of how to have acceptance for the humanness and frailties of others that are around me, and really understanding that this place is a university and it's a curriculum, and how unkind it is to believe that people come to you ready-made and perfect, and that they should behave that way. And that's the only thing that will make them lovable, right? And worthy. And so that was a huge aha in my healing process. And it's something that continues. Listen, that's something like I have to keep reminding myself of and practice it. I am not in any way trying to say I have arrived, and that is an idea that I stay very aware and conscious of when I inevitably want to slip back into, if only.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely. That's another question I wanted to ask you, because this journey, I think we're all on.
So that's another clip from the interview when she talks about no one being perfect, and kind of in relation to the relationship with Will. But prior, I sent you the actual this clip where she talks about being.
I'm bringing it up.
Yeah. She talks about being soulmates with Tupac. She gives a different definition to the term soulmates than a lot of us would think of. And I think it's interesting. There are a lot of people that agree with it. But she definitely says Tupac is one of her soulmates. And I will just say, from reading the book, so much of her relationship with Tupac is romanticized in the book. And it almost reads like she's giving an excuse for the reason she and Will, married. So learning that they are, they've been separated for quite a while. She said that their lifestyles, their past just did not align, and it's very clear about it being very opposite with Tupac. But it's interesting. And what's interesting to me is I was excited to interview Jada Pinkett Smith because I see her as someone that has always come off as extremely authentic. I think that even her platform with Red Table Talk, the whole idea around Red Table Talk was authenticity and truth and rawness. The interview where she brought Will on after it was the story.
Parent is.
Go ahead, Christal. That's the second clip, correct?
This is the clip where she talks about her relationship with Pac.
Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to warn you. There were some things said in this interview that had me grabbing my pearls. Let's go, Christal. Let's play it for the people.
Is really key in understanding why everyone has a friend of yours, parent, is really key in understanding.
Wrong one?
That's the clip that you sent first.
Okay, so let me
resend this other clip to you.
Okay, let me remove that one out of there. I think send it to me again, please.
Yeah, this is it right here. So this is what I'm sending you. So this, again, thank you guys for your patience. This clip is Jada giving context to her relationship with Tupac. I actually asked her about the video. She claimed that there was no chemistry. I brought up the video of the two of them dancing, and it's interesting her response to that. But this was me asking her if she regretted her relationship with Tupac not going to the next level.
Keep talking till I get it uploaded. I'm sorry.
Okay, but the entire book, I definitely feel like she's going to be a bestseller. This book is definitely going to break records because people have been waiting to hear from Jada since the Oscar slap. But I think it even started before that with the realization that she had a sexual relationship with August Alsina. We know him as an artist that was actually introduced to her through her son. He was friends with Jaden. And we haven't really heard Jada take ownership for her part in any of this. When she invited Will to the table, they talked about how they managed to keep their marriage intact. And, Will talked about trying to make her happy, and it was clear that she wasn't. So I think at this point, it feels hypocritical, in my opinion, just as someone that's listened to her and really was a fan of Red Table Talk, to see her really hold other people to being their authentic selves, and then to realize that even before Red Table Talk came into fruition, she and Will had separated. So this entire, persona of being this person that is so raw and honest, really she has lost a lot of credibility, I think, with this great revelation. She's going to sell a lot of books, but she's also lost a lot of credibility, and I think a lot of people are starting to question her reasoning for doing a lot that we've seen over the last year. It also suggests that the slap happened for no reason, because Will was not defending, the honor of the woman that he was in love with. They had been separated for 7 years and were living separate lives, not just separated, but living separate lives. So it really kind of brings up the question of what was that about,
To your point, she brought that up. I don't know if it was in the interview or in the book that Will had, she was shocked that he hit Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the point of her even mentioning that Chris Rock tried to holler at her? It almost seemed like she was throwing her husband under the bus again, because it only appears that, no, he wasn't slapping Chris Rock because of what he said about me. He was, dealing with the issue about before. And right. I think that shouldn't even been brought up in the same context.
Well, I feel like Jada's trying to paint a picture. She's trying to paint a picture of herself being the woman that everyone wants. She also goes back and addresses in the book when Chris Rock was hosting the Oscars, when she made the comment when she was boycotting because of the Oscars so white, and she said that maybe he misunderstood her, because she's trying to paint this picture that she is not problematic, that she, Chris Rock misunderstood, and that's why maybe he has this vendetta against her. But then she also, goes into point that he tried to ask her out. She said that he thought that she and Will were getting a divorce and said, "I would love to take you out." I'm personally waiting to hear if Chris Rock is going to respond to this.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. I don't think, if there is such a thing as past lives, I definitely think Pac and I have traveled a few together, in various forms. So
has there ever been a time that you regretted the decision that you made not to take it to that level with him and to keep it in the friendship space?
It just wasn't possible. There was no chemistry between us. I talk about it in the book.
That's so hard. I know, but that's just so hard to imagine. Because at the time, he was in he was in a space where, he was in jail and all that. But it's just hard to believe that we see chemistry with the two of you guys. Even in the videos you guys dance, and there seems to be so much chemistry. But from your perspective,
chemistry, it's that friendship, love chemistry. Trust me. And let me tell you, don't think that Pac and I, like I write in the book, we had those moments, and I wish I could get people to understand the repelling nature. It was almost like God made us that way. It was like, look, I'm gonna put y'all together. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all gonna be a dynamic duo. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna make it so. Y'all not gonna be able to get together because that just wasn't the purpose. And I know it's so hard, but we had no, and it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
Him too.
Mm-hmm.
Him too.
So CJ, she also said something about she talked about soulmates.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was kind of weird. She said you can your children be your soulmate.
She did. She said that she doesn't believe that soulmates are strictly romantic. She said that she believes your children can be your soulmates, your friends, and then obviously that was why, because in the book she says that Tupac, they were soulmates, and so he referred to her as his soulmate, and so it almost felt like it felt like to me, because I asked her about that. That was the question, was like, well, he referred to you as his soulmate. You felt the same way. What was that about if it wasn't romantic? And she said, everyone, soulmates can be anyone. Your children can be your soulmate. What is clear, she did not feel that Will was her soulmate. And their paths don't necessarily align.
That has to, while we talking about Jada, what do you think Will's going through right now? Like this here is a slap in the face.
Another
slap in the face.
Another slap in the face. And he can't hit Chris Rock because of this one. But the only thing that she says about Will Smith to me in that interview is that he supports her through everything that she's doing. And that was also very strange, because I asked her, when she wrote the book and she decided to do this, she said that she decided to write this book in 2019. And you and I were talking about, when the situation with August Alsina came out. So obviously after all of that, she decided to do that. That's a good point. Daryl Glover says Will didn't say any of this in his book, and he didn't. I actually have, I should run and get that. I have copies. I'm going to run and get my copy, because I have copies of both their memoirs, and they're very different when they talk about their relationship. Let me run and get that visual, because I need you
to
play
the clip again, so people, those who come in and miss this.
Yes.
Go and get the book, and we're going to play the clip.
So everyone has issues, and we all are struggling because of something done by someone else. So the quote says, "People are not meant to be perfect. We can mourn that fact, but at some point it's to our benefit to accept it. It's a mighty invitation for healing."
One of my favorites. You picked one, right? Because for so long I sat, pointing the finger and blaming.
And while you were pointing the finger, there were several pointing at you, Miss Smith.
So what's interesting to me, and I got a copy of Will's book early to do a review on that. So here we have both of their memoirs. Now,
hold on, I didn't see that book. The other one. Okay, all right.
So Jada, on one of the first questions I asked her, this is the quote that sets the tone for her book. She says, "A queen is her own savior. Her magic is quiet, potent, and mysterious." That's a very telling statement to put on the back of a book. I feel like by her saying this, the first sentence, "A queen is her own savior," I feel like Jada wants people to know that Will, it's not about Will. It's really about her, and it's about her and herself.
Right.
And I asked her, because you got to understand, I'm a writer, you're a writer. We know that words are important. And so this book is titled Worthy, right? Mm-hmm. But this quote is literally on the back of the book, and she said it kind of sets the tone for the book. Definitely not a woman that wants to be connected with a man that she's been connected to. We've seen them as the power couple, the Hollywood A-list power couple. And so I think it's really setting a tone that she does not want to be seen that way. She wants to be seen as her own entity. It's interesting because even in her interview with Hoda, she said that she made a promise that there would be nothing that would cause them to get divorced. And she said she hasn't been able, she said that she hasn't been able to break that promise yet. It's interesting because, again, Jada is painting a picture that she is the one in control. She is the one calling the shots. By her saying,
check that out.
Not been able to break that promise. That's letting us know that Will is kind of, he's going along with what she feels. It's the ball is in her court. And I'm not sure if that's true. When you read Will's memoir, he, paints a picture of being in love with her, but feeling that he wasn't enough at times. And
I'm sorry. Just based on what you just said, I'm thinking that this is an attempt by her to tell Will it's over.
I don't think that, because I mean, she could clearly do that. This is not that. I feel like this is a great publicity campaign to empower, to basically, again, show that she is the one that's empowered. Tupac was basically, she doesn't say he was in love with her, but she does suggest that she was his, his soulmate. I mean, quite honestly. Chris Rock wanted her. Will was, into her, and basically just she describes him just calling her and saying, "Are you seeing anybody?" And she says no, and he's like, "Okay, well, you're with me now." Right?
I used to do that.
I mean, it can work.
It work.
Especially with it. Well, you got Will's money, that can work for a while.
Shots fired.
Just being honest. But I think if she wanted to divorce Will, she would have. I think if he was able, I just feel like there's something to that. You're right. Marlon Wayans has come out himself and did an entire special talking about he was so in love with Jada. He was so resentful towards Chris Rock, and he was so jealous of Will Smith. There's something else to this. Because I just can't imagine if you're willing to tell the world that you had an affair on your husband, but you're not willing to get a divorce.
That's just, I don't know. This is a lot. I'm having I'm going through something right now, just thinking about this type of entanglement that she's in. She's still in an entanglement. She doesn't even know it.
She's the puppet master with this. Jada's the puppet master. She called everybody she called Will to the red table. If you remember the way Will looked, he looked miserable. That's not the Will Smith that we're used to seeing. He looked absolutely miserable. She starts the book out. That's what I was saying before the clip played. The book begins with a suicide attempt. And so
who?
Her.
Oh, okay.
She was contemplating suicide. That is the opening of the book. And so it's very clear that they're very unhappy together, but I just think that I do agree that it's attention seeking, because this is all strategy for a best-selling book, and quite possibly for her to announce that they're getting divorced in a grandiose way, or for them to, because there's no possible way that we're going to believe them. They've shown up at red carpets for the last 7 years looking amazing together, and we've bought it. There's no way that's going to happen moving forward.
And that's the other thing I was going to ask you. Could you even imagine them showing up? Because people at this point know that it's not real. I want to also say something too. As you did your interview with her, did you believe that she was being 100% candid with you, in light of the fact that Raquel, from former employee of TMZ, she was hot like fish grease after seeing her tell her truth to Hoda? What did you feel that she held back with your interview as well?
No, absolutely. I knew that, they had planned, and I understand that, my background as a publicist, so I understand giving the meat to the biggest outlet. I was just trying to make sure that I got something, because I have a cover coming out. So I have the rest of that interview is coming out next week, along with the cover story on the book for rolling out. And so we were actually embargoed until next week, but because this came out, we had to, to make some moves and do this. But our official Jada Pinkett cover comes out next week, and I worked with her team on that. But the thing about it is, I understand giving that interview to Hoda. I mean, that's awesome.
That's the nature of the beast.
It's the nature of the beast, and I get, and Jada is A-list. Like Jada's, they are Hollywood royalty, and there are very few African Americans that are at that level of fame. A big part of why she was able to enter Hollywood in that way and be embraced as A-list is because of her marriage to Will Smith. Absolutely. Jada was very much a Black actress, and her marriage to Will Smith was the biggest thing in the world at that time. Definitely exposed her to a different level of access, right?
And you hit the nail on the head. She's not ready to give that stuff up.
I don't think so.
I mean, you're not going to come back down to the peasants after being married to Will Smith. Because
I also want to say, I'm not going to absolve Will of this. I mean, Will is one of them. Will is the definition of Hollywood, right? At one point in time, he was the blockbuster. He could not lose. He had some bad films, but at the end of the day, he's been one of those superhero personalities that's been bigger than life. I think it served his brand well also to be married to Jada. They had these beautiful children. Pursuit of Happiness, one of his biggest films, stars his son. And I think a big part of the Will's success has been the fact that he does, and he talks about that in his book, that he does have this very all-American exterior. He's the good guy, right? So having Jada as a wife and they having these show, it definitely worked to promote this narrative of him being the perfect guy, the good guy. So I think that he chose to stay in the marriage. Obviously, it benefited him as well. We can't just blame Jada for being the promoter of the lie. Will was part of it as well. Even before the August Alsina not rumors, but the information came out, both of them were perfectly fine going to red carpets, talking about their relationship, doing interviews about how they kept their relationship, together after all these years, knowing that was a complete lie.
Let me ask you a question. I'm sure a lot of people want to know this. Did you ask during your interview, in your exclusive sit-down interview with Jada Pinkett Smith, did you ask anything about August Alsina?
I did not. That was not a question we could talk about.
Okay. All right. You wanted to, didn't you?
Of course. Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
To explain to people what an embargo is, because people are saying, what is an embargo?
So an embargo means that you are not able to release. We did the interview last week, and we were not able to release the cover because we have a cover scheduled with her for next week. We couldn't release any of that information until a certain date, because you may have information that they're scheduling and making it available on a certain day to fit a press run, right? And so they wanted to be sure that Hoda, because they probably had that exclusive, that came out first. And Absolutely. So that's why we held ours I held it until now. And then I was like, I ain't holding it till next week.
You did good holding it, because you didn't even tell me. And we'll talk about that later.
I am a professional. If it's embargoed, it's embargoed. But at the point that it comes out, and then, that makes our outlet, that puts us at a disadvantage to be, we're a week and a half behind. So we had to put out this clip, but
I wouldn't have told nobody. Because if the biggest, site that I report for didn't get it first, I mean, I'm glad you got it,
Well, I didn't get it. Hoda got it, and I'm not mad at that.
You bring that source, not taking away from Hoda, but you bring that source. I like Raquel, I felt her when she was so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did she lie to Christal too? Did she hold back on Christal as well?
I don't think she held back, but I will tell you this. I do feel like she had rehearsed answers. I do feel like her answers were very rehearsed, and I'll tell you why. Because, you know, for me, I like to have a conversation. I don't like to just spit questions. I like to really build a conversation. And you're right. She is an actor. She is an actor. So, and I thought about that. I was like, well, you know what? She opened with a statement, right? And when I asked her another question later on in the interview, and she damn near gave me that same statement verbatim. And I was like,
she just trained, Christal. We teach them how to, how to.
She's
that maneuver. She put that judo on you.
She did. She did. I mean, it was literally, I was like, this feels like rewound the interview. But I will say this. I want to say that I would suggest, and I'm buying this for a couple of my friends. The book is really good. Whether you agree with her choices in life is really not important. But I think it's a really good, almost like you're allowed to have a glimpse into her life, but she does a lot of work on helping other people really get in touch with themselves. The title of the book is Worthy, and the idea of being worthy even amongst even with flaws and imperfections, I think is very there's a lot of substance there. So I think that this is a best-selling book. I do think it's a great read. I think it's that women everywhere need to pick up this book, because it definitely speaks to the fact that often women get lost in their own self-worth, in their relationships with their significant others, in relationships with parents. She talks in great detail about her relationship with her mother and father, and how the two of them, some of their issues affected her self-worth. So it's really a good book, and I applaud her on really taking her time and giving us a great read. I actually enjoyed this book more than Will's.
Well, hold on right there. Hold on right, because I'm going to say this.
Mm-hmm.
Jada, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this right now. If you're going out to buy Jada's book, and it's coming around the holidays, buy Will and Jada's book together. Don't just buy Jada's book, because the fellas need something to read as well. So
can I be honest? Can I be honest? We talked about honesty earlier with Chuck, and just authenticity with journalism. I feel like Jada's book, even though I realize that she's good, she's good. They're both actors. Will's book read like a story. It read like a movie of a guy that always ends up being the hero, right? I didn't feel a lot of authenticity. It still played into the narrative of perfection. It didn't get deep. I feel like she opened her book with
women are deep anyway. Stop. So come on.
I feel like for me, I enjoyed both of them. I'm a fan of both. But I enjoyed Jada's book because I feel like Jada's book can help others a lot more.
Other women or other men too?
I feel like it can help people.
Okay.
I feel like Will's book was really like a celebration of his success.
Okay.
But I don't feel like, and it's a success story because he came from nothing. You see him fight to get to where he's at, and the fact that he's so disciplined. But I feel like Jada's book is really about, it's not just about her story. I mean, she has places in the book, each chapter, where she invites you to do your own work. Mm-hmm. And I have to give it to her. I'm a fan. I think she did a great job. And regardless of her status or her relationship and her husband and her, weird infatuation relationship with Tupac, I think it's a great book, and I think it will definitely help people. I don't think it's just women or just men or just Black people it's really a good read for everyone who deals with issues of self-worth and relatability and just being able to have self-confidence and knowing yourself.
Now, with everything you said, I'm reading the comments on social media just about what was released. There are people that are still going to be apprehensive. They felt betrayed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they may not view her as the best role model to get their information from. Absolutely. And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not, while I congratulate her in achieving this milestone in her life, I would have to do a little more research independently of a book, of that book?
I this is what I said. I said early on, I feel like she's lost her credibility, because people can see that even though the book is good, it's definitely a lot of publicity, posturing to get people to buy it and that kind of thing. So we definitely know that.
And that's my point. I'm not going to play with the people.
Yeah.
It's not playing. She played with my co-journalist.
Yeah.
My colleague. You gotta let me listen. First of all, I want to ask, if you sitting down in front of me, I want to be able to ask the questions that my audience wants to hear. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be controlled in how I can ask you questions, even though she's an A-lister. You're so far in your career, you want to get the stuff that your audience want to hear, and you don't really want to. I'm too.
But I agree with that. But I think that a good journalist, and I know you are, I think that what I was able to do, there might have been limitations, but I was able to.
You did good.
You
did real good.
It was important. Yeah.
You did real good. I'm just, you know this. We've had conversations about the people that, we want to interview. And one of the rules I always have is don't ask me for my questions. Just respect that I'm going to do a good job.
Yeah, I don't like when people ask for questions, but I also know
I will do that. I'm telling you, it's like with the YouTubers now. Yeah. I need to see your questions up front. Yeah, we ain't playing those games, and I'll be the first one to pull a plug on you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. As a publicist, for years I was a publicist with a lot of celebrity clients, and I've had reporters where I asked them to send questions because they would like to ambush, right? And yeah. I understand that they're trying to get a good story. And I've had people even tell me, I've given them the directive that this is not allowed, right? Mm-hmm. And they do it anyway. And I've had to pull the plug in the interview. I will say a couple of journalists have gotten my client. I had one do it to a client recently, and she got some information that, we initially told her that was off the record, and she went anyway.
Well, she can't do that. That's no good. Like, if you accept the terms.
She did. She did.
Yeah, you set the terms. Don't try to blindside the interviewee,
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. But I get it, listen, at the end of the day, let's just hope that she's, shared stuff that can really help people in moving forward. We don't want her to even contemplate suicide. And you did touch on a very important issue of suicide and dealing with celebrities, and especially ones in Hollywood. And so many celebrities have committed suicide that were very well off.
Right.
People think that, when you at that stage, you shouldn't have issues, but there's different levels of issues, and it's just, like look at Britney Spears, for example. You see this, she has everything.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have everything.
Yeah, it's sad. And you're right. I mean, I think that people assume to me, what I got out of the interview, Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, there's nothing that they cannot have financially with that money. They can have anything money can buy.
Right.
They also have three beautiful children. Trey is her bonus son, but she does refer to him as her son, which I think is admirable. She cares for him like she does Jaden and Willow. So they have everything that money can buy. They're very good looking. And they still have the same type of issues, if not more than some people. I think it's a lesson that money, fame, access does not buy happiness. Love does not come through money. So many people think that if they had what Jada has, they would be happy. But I think her being so honest about not being happy, even though she has everything that we think it takes to be happy, is a great lesson. You and I have been around celebrities for, I've been around them for 25, 30 years. You've been around them for
for a long time.
But the point is, we know that, money and fame and even success is not synonymous with happiness. And it also, money cannot buy you love. I know it sounds cliche, but it's just true, you know? So that's the biggest lesson I got from this.
I can't ask you anymore. Maybe a year and a half ago, if you could do a trading places type of situation, who would it be? But
with anybody?
With anybody.
You know what? When I was younger, I used to think that. I used to think if I had the opportunity or if I had that. But I think the older I've gotten, I've realized that it's really about what you do with the cards you were dealt.
Right.
And a lot of times you don't know. We see people, I mean, you look at Jada Pinkett, and she, not only is she beautiful and she has this handsome man, and she's had Marlon Wayans and all these men in love with her, and she's still not happy. And so sometimes if you were to be given an opportunity to trade places, you have no idea the demons that are waiting on the other side.
Yeah, right. That's my point.
Yeah.
See, man, I mean, I can say it. I wanted Pam Grier for years. And as I got older, I'm like, or Holly Berry. But as I got older, I'm saying, I dodged a bullet.
Yeah. Well, and it may not be for you. I had the biggest crush, and my husband knows this, the biggest crush on Denzel Washington. Everybody that knows me knows that I am a huge Denzel Washington fan. I thought he was like the embodiment of what manhood should be. And then, but I do know, and I have so much respect for his wife. I think he has the utmost respect for her. The way he speaks about her is beautiful. But if I was able to be with Denzel Washington back when he was in Mo Better Blues and I was like smitten, I don't think I would have been able to handle what Pauletta has been able to handle. That was for her.
And that's right. And that's the thing. People got to realize that, you can carry so much, but you have to be built for that. You have to be built for that. And I commend you on doing a great job. You pushed it as far as you can push it without getting pushed out the room.
Yeah.
I would have been like, when I do interviews, they got security and everything around. You better not grab him if he says it.
And then, a Zoom interview, I feel like I'm better when I'm able to sit down with a person. There's a rapport. On Zoom, you can only do so much, right?
They would have shut you down quick. They would have hit that button. You don't need that. You want to keep that conversation going as long as possible.
Yeah, and her handlers are right there. So because I know how I am. I am quick to come into frame and say this interview is over. I'm quick. My clients know I don't play about them. So I respect that with other people. And I also, I'm representing a brand rolling out that has a certain integrity to uphold. So I know that what I do, I'm doing it in reflection of the brand. So I have to be very careful. I do, Clessa says Willow Sadat has an ideal family in his head. That's not us. That's so sad. That is sad. But what is also very sad and interesting to me is that Willow would write a letter to Tupac saying that she wishes that he was here so her mother wouldn't be sad. There's a few things that are really sad about that. First thing is that a daughter is seeing her mother completely unhappy. And I know that does a lot to a daughter if you see your mother unhappy, right? Because children see themselves through their parents. So that is sad that she carries around the fact that she knew her mother was very unhappy. Secondly, the fact that she knows another man that's not her father could possibly be the key to her mother's happiness is also sad that she would feel that way. What is the saddest thing of all is that was shared with the public. That was released, because I don't think that's something that, number one, it shows us that Willow is experiencing pain, but it also shows that it's being glorified, and that was shared on a public platform. That was highly inappropriate, in my opinion. I feel like how a child feels about their parent, because it really wasn't about Tupac. It really was about, she wanted her mom to be better.
Right.
And that is, to me, that's really, sad.
It's sad that was shared, but also, what is Will going through just hearing that? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Because the daughter's hero is her father, right? And so daddy can always make it better. But if you know that daddy is not mommy's hero, daddy is not what makes mommy happy, and she's thinking, what can make mommy happy? This man. That is highly dysfunctional. And again, the fact that we are in the family group chat is even worse. Like, we don't need to be exposed. If my daughter, I went through a painful divorce, I would never share what my children were going through with the world. That's
right.
I don't get that.
So, in closing, we have some good topics. We had to get back to the last topic. I'm still not done with the whole Keefe D and Keefe D Tupac Diddy saga, but I want to wait, like many other major platforms, to discuss anything. There's going to be likely a trial and or plea. This man is facing life, and I don't know how this is going to play out. He's going to go the distance. He likes to talk a lot. He'll probably take the stand too, which is not a thing.
To stand in public court.
Right. Yeah, he's so let's see what comes out of that. And for those who have been watching the trolling by 50 Cent, that's all he's doing is trolling.
He is, and I 50 is one of those people that is just like, wow, you gotta really. He is going to go the distance with trolling. I think it's his personality, but he just adds gasoline to any fire. He just throws a little gasoline on it.
And 50's doing what 50 does, does what he does. Someone asked a question earlier. They said that in the book, did you complete it for the entire book?
I did.
Was there any talk about August Alsina in the book?
There's mention of that relationship in the book, yes.
She knows she couldn't put that book out without speaking on that.
Yeah, she talks about everything. She talks about everything.
Everything. Okay. Well, I might go get the book. I might go get the book as well.
Yeah, it's a good book. When you get it, your perspective will change. Because all these things are disappointing, and it's like you can disagree, but a lot of the content and substance from a therapeutic standpoint are really, really good.
Good. Well, Christal, once again, thank you for always making the show a hot show with our hot topics. Until next time.
Hey, let's do this again.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Well, she was out of here. I'm still here, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to be sure to go to the Hip Hop Inquirer website. Make sure you type in hiphopinquirer.com and go to our website. Look at some of the latest stories that we're doing, as well as make sure you follow Christal Jennings at Enchanted PR. So make sure you are following those platforms. Follow my Twitter page, the official Twitter page at Mr. Dennis Byron. With that said, I'm out for real. No kidding. I'm really leaving right now. I got some piano lessons to give. We out.